Well, hello y'all, welcome back to my kitchen. Let's make dinner. Hey y'all, so today's theme for dinner is cozy, comfy, maximum comfort meal. And because that's the theme, we are gonna have like a little girls' night in, okay? So I have on my self-care headband, I have on a cozy matching set, and we're gonna make a cute little mocktail before we get dinner started. And of course, we have to use the cutest little bow girly glass that we have. Okay, so I just wanna make this like the cutest little drink, but I also want something that's like a little bit refreshing. So I have some blackberries that I really need to use up. So we're gonna put a couple of those at the bottom of our cup. And we have some cherries. And one of my favorite things that I discovered towards the end of last year is taking just like a little bit of the cherry juice from the jar and using it in like my mixed drinks. It is so good. So we're gonna do just a couple tablespoons of that cherry juice. And of course, we have to put some of the actual cherries in the drink as well, or it's literally a crime. But okay, of course now we need the liquids. So we're gonna do a little bit of orange juice. And then we're gonna top her off with a little bit of Fresca, which this is just like citrus soda water. Feeling fancy today, y'all. We're gonna do a sprig of rosemary. Oh my gosh, look at her. Oh yeah, that is perfect. Hey y'all, if you are new here, my name is Kendriyana. Every Sunday here on my channel, we cook dinner, and today's is going to be the quintessential snow day in meal. If you didn't know, I am from Georgia. We do not get snow days often. It's like once every 2 years. If we're lucky, it'll be like once a year, but normally it's once every 2 years. Technically it snowed yesterday, but it is still covered with ice outside. It is so freaking cold. And so I wanted to make a soup that just embodied cozy, comfy, let's warm up. And my husband also just loves soup. I also love soup, so I feel like this will be the perfect dinner. So tonight I'm gonna show y'all how I make my roasted garlic tomato soup. Tomato soup is literally one of the easiest soups that you can make, but some people tend to overcomplicate it. So I'm just gonna show y'all how you can do it without being super stressed out. And to be honest, it is way better than the stuff that comes in the can. I'm just saying, I could be completely biased here. So let's get to cooking. This is so good. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna do is roast some garlic. For me personally, I am gonna do 2 bulbs of garlic, but I feel like garlic is one of those things where like, if you want less, you could do less. If you want more, you can do more. I know some people who will like drench every meal they have in garlic because they just love the taste so much. And that is completely up to you and what you and your family like. I just know for us, 2 is gonna be that perfect sweet spot. I know for some people 2 might sound like you're doing just a little too much. So first, I'm just gonna start out by taking off just the first layer of the garlic skin. I'm gonna take it all off. I'm just taking off the parts that are on the outermost layer. And we are going to cut our garlic. So we are not gonna cut off the butt of the garlic. We are going to cut off the tip of the garlic. The butt of the garlic helps the garlic stay in place. So you don't want to get rid of that because it'll just make it so much easier in the long run to squeeze your garlic out. So I have the tops of both of my garlic bulbs cut off. So now I'm going to take just a little bit of avocado oil and basically drench the garlic in it. You can also use olive oil. I just prefer avocado oil. I also salt mine just a little bit. And then we're just going to wrap these up. And I don't do mine super tight. I like to leave it so like a little bit of air can get through. I just find that it works better that way. Okay, so now I'm going to take my garlic. I'm going to put this in my oven, which I've preheated at 400 degrees, and I'm gonna let these cook for 45 minutes. I know that sounds like the longest time ever and it makes you want to just use like the jarred stuff, but listen, I promise you it's gonna be so worth it. That 45 minutes, I'll usually like prep the rest of the ingredients and then I'll tidy up around the house, and before you know it, the 45 minutes is up and it is time to finish up the soup. It's gonna be so good, I promise. So I got a big bowl because this is going to hold all of our tomatoes while we dice them up. So I have 8, I wouldn't say these are large, but they're like medium-sized vine ripe tomatoes. As again, this is tomato soup, so we need quite a few. But the best way to cut a tomato is with a serrated knife, so like a bread knife. Trust me, I cut these wrong for years. Like I used to cut tomatoes so wrong, y'all, and then I would get so frustrated because they were so hard to cut. Then I realized it's because I was using the wrong type of knife. Honestly, there is no rhyme or reason for how you want to cut these because we're going to cook them down and then blend them anyways. but I do find that if you do cut them a little bit smaller, they do tend to blend better. So I'm just gonna cut mine into small chunks and we're gonna call it a day. They do not need to be perfect in the slightest. First time I ever made homemade tomato soup, I felt so cool because my whole life I just thought it had to be so complicated because, you know, I always see tomato soup recipes where it's like you gotta roast the tomatoes for hours and then you gotta do this and you gotta do this, and it just always seems so intimidating because I'm like, I do not want to do that. Like, it might seem like I'm someone who likes spending tons of copious amounts of time in the kitchen, and like I do, okay, don't get me wrong, I love being in the kitchen, but something about my brain, like I'd rather spend 3 or 4 hours in the kitchen working on like 4 different dishes versus 4 hours in the kitchen working on 1 dish. I just would, okay, I'm gonna say it. So when I discovered that if you just have like a really good quality Dutch oven or pot, and not even a good quality, like honestly, first time I made it, I did it in like a little Beautiful by Drew pot, which the whole set cost like $100. So I would say like 1 pot from the collection is probably like $20, and it cooked beautifully in my opinion. So you don't need to roast your tomatoes. Of course, if you want to do that, you can, but just sweating them down and cooking them down in your pot, your Dutch oven, and then giving them a nice blend, it literally does the same job. And I'm gonna be real with y'all, I've done it the way of like roasting the tomatoes, like I've done that. It tasted just the same. It tasted the exact same. So I forgot to mention that this recipe is relatively simple. There's not a ton of ingredients. So we are gonna chop up our next vegetable, which is an onion. And that'll be the last vegetable you have to chop up. So I already have half of one chopped from the other day from a different recipe that I did. And I only needed like 1/4 of a cup of chopped onion. So I'm just gonna chop up the other half of that onion, and that will be everything that we need. Again, all of this is going to be pureed down. So how big you cut the chunks is completely dependent on how good of a blender or whatever you have. I don't know if I trust my blender to get big chunks blend it down, so I am cutting mine pretty small when it comes to the onion. Hey Alexa, how much longer on my timer?
Good evening, Kendriyana. You have 31 minutes left on your 45-minute timer.
Okay, so once our garlic is done, we can finish our soup. We need the garlic in order to roast down the vegetables, but I will see y'all when the timer is up. Okay, y'all, I'm about to take the garlic out. Oh my gosh. Our apartment smells magical. It smells so good in here. One thing about me is I will roast some garlic just to put on anything, and that is how I discovered that this was good, because I just love roasting garlic. But I added a little bit of avocado oil to my Dutch oven, and it is heating up currently. The reason why it's sizzling is because the bottom of my pot is a little bit wet, okay? This is literally so good. Oh my gosh. I got it from TJ Maxx. They have had the cutest stuff ever. But we are going to cook our veggies now. So I am first going to be adding in the onions and just letting those cook down a little on their own before we add in our tomatoes, just because it takes the onion just a little bit longer to get soft, and the tomato is like instantly. We just want to make this as easy as possible to blend, and it's a lot easier if we have our onions cooked down. I don't know if I'm just like starving, but why does everything smell so good? Because now even these onions cooking, they smell incredible. I'm also gonna make like a little grilled cheese and bacon sandwich to go with these on sourdough bread. I don't know why, but I was sitting the other day and I was like, you know what would be really, really good? Bacon and a grilled cheese. And for some reason we have like 6 packs of bacon from Costco. Don't worry, I have frozen a majority of them, but I've been trying to use up as much bacon as I can, and now I'm like talking and I'm like, wait, bacon would be really good in this soup, but then I'll be pissed off if I add it in and I don't like it. So we're not gonna do bacon in the soup, but on the sandwich, that'll be good. Okay, so it's been about 4 minutes of sweating down our onions. We are gonna add in our tomato now. We're gonna cook down the tomatoes and the onions now, and what you're really looking for is for your tomatoes to get almost, like the best way I can describe it is like stewed. That's exactly what you're looking for. You want them to be stewed. They're gonna create their own juices. They are going to kind of pull away from the skin a little bit, and that's exactly what you wanna do. This can take anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. It just depends. So you need to keep a close eye on it, and once we get those nice and stewed, we are going to add in our roasted garlic. And no, you don't have to stand here like a crazy woman and mix them the whole time. I just like to do that to get it started, and then I kind of let them do their thing. My tomatoes are to a place where I think they look good. It took them about 20 minutes to get there. So we are now going to do my favorite part, which is take our garlic and squeeze it right in. Oh my goodness, it smells so good in here. Be careful not to burn your fingers. Even though this was sitting for like 20 minutes, it is still pretty hot. Okay, so now that the garlic is added in, we're just gonna let this simmer for an additional 2 minutes, and then we're gonna add everything to our blender, and it is time to make our soup nice and smooth. And that is where I'll season, okay? Because I know there's some people that are probably like, okay, but where's your seasoning? We're gonna season, don't worry. If you're like me, you just have like a smaller little blender. I have I think this is called a magic bullet. You're just gonna do this in sections. It's completely okay to do it in sections. So we're just gonna add this to the fill line. We're gonna put in our big chunks, and then we are gonna blend this down until it is smooth. We'll throw that back in the pot, and then we will repeat with another round of veggies. Y'all, but there is nothing I love more than like a creamy tomato soup. So now we're just gonna add in about a cup of heavy whipping cream. Ooh, don't pop in my face. This is gonna add some creaminess, and then also it helps with the acidity from the tomato. I think it's so funny. Every time I make tomato soup homemade, like it's never like that red color like in the can. So it just makes me wonder like, what is in the canned one? Listen, I am no canned food shamer because I mess up some canned food, okay? I love a good canned tomato soup. Like anytime I do not feel like making it homemade, we are having that canned tomato soup. I do not care. I'm just like a little curious to know what makes it red, but not curious enough to look because I don't want to scare myself. I will just continue to eat it. Okay, so of course we are gonna season, do not worry. There's some black pepper, some salt, some chili powder because I do like a little bit of a kick. And then we're also gonna do some oregano. Now I know this might be a little bit confusing because I did just say I like a little bit of a kick, but I like a sweet and spicy balance in my tomato soup. So I always go in and add in about 2 tablespoons of honey, I promise you. I know it sounds strange, but it is so freaking good. If you have hot honey, that is even better, but we don't have any of that today, so we're just gonna use regular raw honey. Assemble the sandwiches. Wade is going to cook the sandwich because he is the grilled cheese concierge. I don't even know if that's the right word for that. But I got this loaf of sourdough from Sprouts, and it's kind of small. So we have about enough to make 2 sandwiches, but then we have like bits of bread left over for dipping, so that's okay. The 2 cheeses I'm using, I'm gonna use American and Colby Jack, and then put in between those 2 pieces of cheese, we're gonna put some bacon that I accidentally overcooked. So Wade does not want bacon on his. He said put his 2 very crispy pieces of bacon on the side. But we are gonna start out with our American cheese first. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna add bacon to mine, but not to Wade's. And I kind of only want just like a little bit of bacon. And we're gonna do our Colby Jack, which is one of my favorite cheeses. So good. Wade is more of like a pepper jack dude, but we don't have any pepper jack, so Colby Jack is gonna have to do today. Okay, and then we're just gonna top our sandwiches, and Wade is gonna cook them up for us. They're small, but they look so freaking cute. Okay, y'all, this is everything plated up. We have our soup, we have our sandwich, and now we'll do a little bit of a taste test for you guys. Do you mind cutting my sandwich as well, kind sir?
Would you like it in 2s or 3s or 4s?
7s.
Would you like it in 7s?
Oh wait, I like half slant. You know what I mean?
Slants like
No,
this,
just
like
one.
that.
Yeah, just one right down the middle.
Okay.
We have our soup, we have our sandwiches. I'm gonna try the soup just by itself, and then I'll do a sandwich dip. Ready, babe? Cheers.
That is good.
Wow. I'm gonna do a little sandwich dip. Okay, y'all, that was my creamy garlic tomato soup. Thank you guys so much for joining us in the kitchen today. I really hope that this is one that will warm you up, especially because it is so cold outside lately. And of course, if you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support means the absolute world to me. You guys are so sweet. I was so nervous to get started over here on YouTube because I didn't know what the audience would be like after being on TikTok for so long, but y'all are so kind. Yeah, I will see you guys on Thursday. Bye, guys.
Bye.